Guys, it's Sarah with Grassroots Evolution, and I'm here to bring you a monthly message for Gemini. So guys, if you're a Gemini, if you were just sort of drawn to this message, if Gemini is somewhere in your chart or you're dealing with a Gemini, this may resonate. Take what you feel is for you, disregard the rest, and know that no matter what Spirit says, no matter what the cards say, it's still up to you guys, your active free will, and the choices you make and the steps you take. And that really is your empowerment, because those are the things that you have control over, right? Your active free will. So guys, if you are returning to my channel, thank you for being here. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful that you keep returning. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And for anyone who's new, please feel free at the end, if this is for you, subscribe, join the journey with me, and let me encounter your energy more often. But for all my subscribers, I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. So we're going to take a moment to ask Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron to jump in, to guide, guard, bless, and protect this reading, myself and any of you who would ask for it, to use me as the clearest form possible and deliver the messages for our highest good for anyone who's watching. Guys, if you are asking your angels or guides in your life, remember to ask that they're here for your highest good and delivering messages that you can understand. Again, you have the power to speak with Spirit, right? Even in just your thoughts, they can understand that if you're asking. So, if you're thinking, Archangel Michael, please come in, help me out today, shield me with light, shield me with protection, these kinds of things, he's absolutely here, but he needs you to speak up and ask, okay? So just again, ask that they're here for your highest good. Spirit wants me to start with a message from Life Oracle, and this will be for Gemini, November 2019. Keep in mind, guys, it is general. Again, like I said, it can't hit everyone's situation, but time is fluid. So I may be picking up on a situation from the past, which I have forgiveness that popped out. So this could be definitely picking up on a past situation, past life, something that's already in your energy field happening now, or something that's just starting to trickle in. But if you don't like the energy, you get the power to change it, baby. So we have forgiveness here. And you see how the forgiveness, as we forgive, it's lighting up her heart. And we have this cross here. And I'm not looking at this in biblical terms or religious. I'm looking at this necessarily in spiritual. In that there is so much light shining from this heart. It can't help but to make this giant cross, because it's like literally like this, shining and radiating out of her with open hands, saying, you know what, forgiveness really does heal, and it changes us. And what I'm hearing is it changes our cellular makeup and our structure, because we're releasing old karma, we're releasing old energy, and we're allowing ourselves to regenerate and become new. So I'm going to read to you the first message Spirit has to offer. I no longer suffer from or struggle with what has been said and done. I bless and am grateful to each soul that I perceive has hurt me, and I release them to their own greater good. My past provides me with the lessons that will help me live the present more fully. I fill myself with love that is pure and free. Breathing in love, breathing in light, breathing in energy, bringing down this white light into your crown and holding it in your heart, asking that anything here that needs healing be transmuted with love out into the world. And you can even ask, this white light to bring it down all the way through. And then I'm going to do what I'm going to ask you guys to do. Touch it down to the floor, okay? Do that, and as you feel your hand move and the energy move, touch it down to the floor and ask that anything that's blocking forgiveness around your heart be transmuted into the earth's core and out with love. And you can do that on your own time. You can take 5 minutes to do that, 2 minutes, just a little breathing exercise. But what I'm hearing is Archangel Michael as well, and Metatron, they're both here today, saying forgiveness heals. Remember that, but remember again that you can choose these things. So if you feel yourself getting upset about a past situation, can look in the mirror and literally say, I no longer struggle or suffer with what has been said and done. I bless and am grateful to each soul that I perceive have hurt me. You can do this again if you feel you've hurt others. Say, I no longer hold on to, I heard tension, but I no longer hold on to the feelings of shame and regret for what I've done or the hurt that I've caused. I allow myself to move forward. I allow myself to learn the lessons and learn love throughout this process. And I forgive wholeheartedly through this and any lifetime and all layers of my entire being that which has been said and done to hurt me. And I actively choose to move on from this situation. Forgiveness heals. And they want me to look at the bottom that had door to the intimate, door to the infinite and growing. Each day I nourish myself with light in order to grow in divinity. Through the messages that life brings me, I study my inner being to improve myself in the eyes of God. I am here to learn and grow, not materially, but at my soul level. I find my balance between material and spiritual worlds, and I free myself from inner conflicts. Growing also means that we got to let go of some of the things that hurt us. If we can recall something that happened 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, with still as much anger and vigor or hurt as the situation that happened back then, we're not letting it go and we're not growing past it. We're staying stuck in hurt. And realize as well, sometimes for this forgiveness, the other person or the parties that were involved, they're not going to apologize. And they may not be sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's up to us, regardless of whether they're sorry for it. I bet you we're sorry for encountering the energy, going through it. Let's choose not to let that other person or that situation maintain a hold by saying, no, I grew past you, right? I grew past that situation. Yeah, it hurt, but it built my backbone, built who I was, and I wouldn't be that person without who I am today and without your experience, so thank you. Grow past it, and remember, as we release those fears and traumas and the things that we need to bring forgiveness to, our life outwardly won't hold on to the vibration that it has been, because that situation literally has been dealt with. And I feel like Spirit is going to give you situations in your life each and every time around this spiral and spiral and spiral until you get the lesson right. So, I'll share some personal information. Throw myself under the bus here. Wow. Spirit will hurt me. Okay, not in bad ways, but I just see a crow outside. I've been hit in the head with a door for being silly, crying over a boy. I've been fallen downstairs. I can't even explain. Oh, sorry, guys. It went crazy. Not crazy, but it went out there. What I mean here is Spirit will do things for you to try and get your attention. And if you're sleeping, it might hit you in the head with the door. If you're crying over other people and other situations to a point where you're interfering with your own life and your life purpose, Spirit's going to step in. So pay attention to these little nudges. There's growth to be learned from everything there, right? Being hit in the head with a door and not thrown down the stairs, but I just rolled down these huge things of stairs, and luckily, basically okay, but I wasn't listening to Spirit. I was living my life in trauma, essentially, and at the time I was drinking a lot, and alcohol as well, one of these things that we use potentially to numb your pain and not deal with the situations. Spirit was like, no honey, what are you doing? Stop doing that. Stop crying over boys. Stop getting drunk. Stop doing these things and start living your purpose and enjoying your life. It took a while to learn that, and sometimes Spirit, I'm going to get into tarot, guys, but sometimes Spirit will give you the hardest lessons because we saw it the first time and didn't want to do it, didn't want to deal with it, and then things got worse and worse until Spirit's like, you cannot run away from this. You need to deal with it. So, forgiveness heals. Heal yourself. Heal your, any, again, attachments to, anything that's happened. For example, again, not about me, just my examples, but I don't harbor any anger on myself for getting hit with the door from where I was. I did for a while. How could I be that silly? How could I do this? But it was a learning experience. And everything that hurts us along our way is a learning experience and helps us grow. And I will no longer sit in stairwells crying drunk over boys, right? Because what was the point of that? I got hit in the head and took 5 stitches in the head with the door. Because Spirit was like, what are you doing? And I can't say this is all Spirit. I'm not going to say Spirit's malicious and they're going to hurt you. But if things are happening continually that keep happening and they're not always the nicest or most pleasant, I feel like Spirit's trying to tell you, you got to change your vibration. You got to grow, honey. Time to bloom. So I'm going to come into the Wildwood Tarot. If I get cut off, I apologize. It was a long message with just those cards. So Spirit, what is some tarot wisdom you could have for Gemini, please, for November? And this came out in the Taurus reading, and I shuffled really good. So you have the Guardian here, and this is the Guardian to the Gateway. Remember those black depths of your soul? The stuff that it took a long time, honestly, too, for me to admit that I was crying, just being silly in the doorway over a boy, right? That's some of the stuff that, to do that again, I probably wouldn't do that, right? Save myself the sore head. But it could have happened either way. I could remove one thing from the situation. I still might have got hit in the head. It just would have been a different way in a different situation, okay? But this, I feel like what is being called of us is to move past the fear. And if you can see through his legs behind him, there is a path. And this is, don't let fear or distraction stand in your way in your path to get to the inner light. It may seem dark in here, but what I heard is, honey, you're the torch. You're the light. You got it. You can illuminate this and really just step around the bear. Step around the cave bear. Go into the murky depths in there and say, what was the lesson? If there's something with this forgiveness that's haunting you, a spirit I'm hearing is saying, see past the bare bones, right? See past the claws. See past the fear of danger, because this cave is no longer inhabited by the bear. It's just your soul. So we're going to ask another message, please, for some wisdom. And this also, that's the wrong one. You have the Hooded Man. Learning and enlightenment. What was the lesson that was learned? He's holding on to his staff and holding on to the lantern. But what I love about this particular, this is the Hanged Man, okay? What I love about this particular Hanged Man is it's just wisdom. He is cloaked, but the doorway here is warm. There's a wreath over it. It is inviting. It may be snowy and cold. However, he's not wearing mittens, is what I'm being guided to say. He's not being bothered by the cold. He is discussing here with this little bird, which I think maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, a sparrow. But sparrow has pretty deep meaning. Just a second. Okay, guys, I'm back. I wanted to bring a message from the Animal Speak it's by Ted Andrews about sparrow, okay, about the sparrow. And the keynote here is, it says, it's awakening and triumph of common nobility. Wake up, thou king and queen inside that's been sleeping, because you are noble. It's time to awaken up and triumph in here. It's your round power. It has not always been considered the pest it is today. It is a perky, assertive bird that can hold its own against many forms of predation. The sparrow lives in all habitats in the United States where no natural checks upon it, and thus is multiplied at a fantastic rate. It has its share of lore, as many birds. One story tells of how it was the bird present through the crucifixion of Christ, making it a symbol of triumph over long suffering. It was a symbol of household divinities in Britain, and during the Middle Ages, it was a symbol for the peasants and lower classes throughout Europe. Peasants at this time were often helpless under the power of overlords. Because of this, they loved to hear the tales of how the insignificant sparrow triumphed over such powerful enemies as wolves, bears, and eagles. It is the traditional symbol of nobility and those who mistreated the peasants. Its ability to multiply and assert itself in spite of predation reflects the idea that nobility of the common person is inherently strong. Forgiveness heals because of that which was meant to take us down, those predators or predatory energy. You can rise above, my sparrow. So that's the message I have, that it may be some time for reflection and introspection and to move through this, but you are brave and you are noble, and there's nothing that can keep you down or stop you from your divinity once we embrace that forgiveness for past situations that have kept us inside and have kept us in a shell and have stopped us from